the City of Trinidad Tourism Board, Wednesday, November the 9th at 9:03. Marty, you want to take the one or no?
Campbell,
Yeah, here.
Kress,
Here.
Michaels, here, Richardson,
Yes.
Miller.
Here.
Items of discussion, update, advertising and marketing, RFP process, Marty.
Okay, so Monday was the deadline. That was the cutoff date. We now have 6 applicants. We have we, us, them from Canada.
Oh.
We have Destination by Design from Boone, North Carolina. We have VistaWorks from Colorado. We have AdPro from Colorado Springs. We have Cone Marketing from Trinidad and New Legends from Trinidad. City
Legends?
New Legends. We have, so our city manager is putting together a review team to go over these RFPs. And it was supposed to happen this week, but they were closed yesterday for Election Day. We're closed on Friday for Veterans Day, so we're pushing it back probably a week. And we'll be in touch and let you know what's going on.
I have a question. Why are they reviewing them?
I guess that's a question for the city manager.
Huh.
He's putting together a review team.
He's put
Yes.
together a review team. And yeah, and what about us?
Is there any participants from?
From here?
Me, as the tourism board manager.
Anyone else?
Anybody? It should be some. It
Yeah,
should be us.
Tom or somebody
Yeah.
else.
Well, ask the city manager.
Yeah,
Tom?
absolutely, Tom, you should be in.
Yeah, because
I-
who's paying for that? City or we?
I don't have the answers to those
Yeah,
questions.
that's just a good question. You know. Okay.
Can we have any of the paperwork did they submit any paperwork?
Yeah, they're sealed packets. They're supposed to arrive sealed, so yeah,
Okay.
they're proposals.
So I do feel that we,
Address that with the city manager,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
Okay?
All right.
I haven't met a new city manager.
It's really nice. I met him a couple times. I just haven't had time to sit and talk with him.
Well, I know that City of Amarillo, the purchasing department, you know, which would, under the city manager, would take everything, review it, make sure that they were all fulfilled.
And that
then
could be true, but
and then turn them over to the,
to look at
To the
all of them,
department.
yeah.
billboard proposals,
Okay.
Chris?
I put a brief proposal instead of going into a lot of, been talking about, you know, one of the things that I have experienced over the last 70 years is, not quite that long, maybe 60, that we worry about people stopping, people driving through and saying it's cute is fine as long as they stop on the way back. There's lots of reasons, and billboards, you know, of course, according to Advertising Age, you know, you can't ignore them. The biggest mistake people make with billboards is trying to say too much. So if we had something just to trigger, and I did a mock billboard, it'll take discussion on what we put on it, but just something, so when they see it, Trinidad, Colorado, oh, it's magical, let's stop there. Or if they're thinking about it, or then they know it's coming up, and then see other things. I think we're more likely, you know, it's impossible to measure how many people it would stop. Most advertising is difficult to measure exactly how much input it does have. You can see results after things, but then, you know, what other factors were involved. In discussions, you know, with Marty, we hadn't there weren't any billboards with the company that we're using right now available. Landmark, which I didn't bother to put who these folks were on there, but Landmark Advertising has you know, a couple of choices on the two main routes coming in, 25 coming and looking at something closer to Raton so it catches more than the Mexico people coming up, and then the road from Texas over by Des Moines.
Are those
There's
the billboards that are on that exit right before 85? Or right after 85, getting on I-25 coming north?
You talking about the ones?
In Raton.
I don't know exactly because I'm not that familiar with it. It looks like it. One of the things I wanted to do was if we decide to do this, I'm going to drive down and look at them personally. They send you pictures, but
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't.
you're right, you're so right. Yeah.
But drive down and actually take a look and make sure it's what we want. I've seen the one in Des Moines, and it's great. I mean, hits you in the face when you go by. The simplicity of something, some way of just putting the bug in their eye. Then the website is available. Social media is available if they want to look it up further, or maybe they'll just stop and check things out. I don't think we need to stress where the Colorado Visitor Center is. If they get interested enough, they will go there. If we can just get them to pull off the road, come in and check it out, and I think that's going to
So
be.
I would like some really data on the numbers of visitors you see per dollar you spend on a billboard. And then the other thing I have with this is that experience the magic. Okay, Colorado, it's kind of like the problem I have with the Visit Colorado video that was on about Trinidad. It just said, oh, there's beautiful views. Well, there's beautiful views and magic all over Colorado. This doesn't do anything to specifically say why you should stop here instead of passing through and going to Vail or going to wherever, right? So I think, if you're going to do something like this, then you should put something like, since we're spending all of our time on outdoor recreation, put a picture of somebody on a bike where you can see Fisher's Peak behind them, or somebody fly fishing where you can see Fisher's Peak behind them, and just say, come play in Trinidad, or something else to show that you can do something here versus, oh, it's another pretty place in Colorado.
Yeah, I said that was just an example.
Yeah.
But I also see, I'm getting kind of, people know about the bicycling.
But
People
they
know
don't.
about, yes,
I mean, they're
do.
just barely learning about the
But
bicycle.
there's a lot of people that come to our buildings and our streets
Yes.
because it's quiet and it doesn't have road
There's so many
conditions.
things.
There are so many
But
different
our
reasons people are
focus
coming.
is on trying to get beds and heads, right? At this point, and we're
Heads
very
and beds, but,
heads and beds, bed, whatever. Okay.
I agree with you. I do
But I
agree
mean, if
with
that's our goal, and we're just barely starting to scratch the
Oh, I
surface
know.
of outdoor recreation. And outdoor recreationalists spend the night here. They spend money in the bars, they spend money in the restaurants, and they go all over these places. And the 2 bikes that I happened to see on Fisher's Peak when I was hiking there on Sunday that happened to be from out of town, if people really knew about this, there would have been 20 bikes up there, 50 bikes up there, right? And I mean, I'm enjoying that not everybody knows about it yet, but it's still just a minuscule component of that. And we've
And that's
barely
just 2
scratched the
weeks old.
surface.
That's just 2 weeks old with the bike.
Yeah, and we've just barely scratched the surface of this outdoor recreation thing. So, if we're gonna do it, we need to go in
Go
and
in,
commit
jump
it
in.
for the next 3 or 4 years, that all of our advertising is gonna be focused on getting people to come here and do activities. Versus another pretty space. If Main Street were open and it were decorated for Christmas and you had, a home for the holidays and we had a history of that, that would be another thing you could do. But I think we should really just focus on one aspect, and one aspect where people spend money, and then maybe over time, as more of the storefronts get filled and they're not covered in plywood, then we can really focus on our beautiful Main Street.
Okay, I'm gonna correct you on that one there. There are a lot of storefronts that are open.
Yes.
They really are. I mean, as merchants, you guys ought to sit in my store and talk to the people that come in and thoroughly enjoy our stores and thoroughly enjoy our walk in the streets, because our stores, yes, some of our stores are closed on Mondays. Now I see where a couple more stores open on Mondays, because I've been arguing with everybody to open on Mondays, because it's a very busy day for me and they're stupid for closing. Okay? So more and more people are opening. Some of us are closing early. I'm one of them. That 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the afternoon, because it is so quiet out there and so dead. And it's been very, very quiet and very good for us to see. But there's a lot of storefronts. You tell me one thing downtown Main commercial that is open that available to rent.
I just know that there's buildings that are boarded up.
I
and stuff.
understand on the corner. I
You
understand
know,
that there.
not just on the corner, but I mean up and down Main Street.
Oh, our opera house is amazing. I heard somebody wanted to tear down the gym to put parking when we have the one on Main and Commercial should be the one that tore it down, not the gym. I'm just amazed that people would
Nobody should tear
suggest.
down Main and
Yeah.
Commercial. That's ridiculous.
Well, no, the opera house for parking.
Not to get off track.
Okay, we're getting off track.
Look, the one thing about I see the billboards, I see it as a part of the whole package. So we got to be everywhere. We have to do a little bit in each one of them.
Well, and if you look at the $9,900 that this would cost, right, and how much return on your investment are you going to get if you invest that in geo-targeted Google ads, in Spotify ads where people are listening to their music as they're driving through, they're significantly cheaper,
But
and
we
you're
can still
targeting
do
them
that.
as they come through.
We could still do that.
I'm just wondering, like, where's the budget for one of those versus the other? I mean, if we have limited funds, if we're not completely like, yes, let's spend money everywhere, we should be a lot more targeted in how we spend our money. And the return on your investment that you see from really targeted, especially now, did we hire somebody for the social media component of that?
I think there's interviews gonna be taking place real quick. They've nailed it down to the last 3.
Okay.
How many did you get? Sorry.
6.
So when you have somebody who can really focus on that, you see direct return on investment coming in your doors, right? I own a business in a busy area. When I do geo-targeting through Google and when I do a lot of advertising on Facebook, I see direct results like immediately. And when I get lazy or I forget or I don't do it because it's a pain in the butt, my numbers drop. And I see it over and over, month over month over month, right? And then you can see the analytics from the Google ads or from the social media ads or whatever, and it shows you how many people clicked, how many people made a phone call, how many people walked in your door with those pieces, and so you can have a very measurable response to that.
Well,
And-
that's a good thing to have, and maybe we should have it on everything. Billboards, you know, how many people are looking at everything that we advertise in? And then that's where we can go from a basis as to where we put our money at. You know, but you take the billboard that's in Monument that you've never seen, you've told me time and time, but 650,000 people travel between Denver and Springs in a week,
Yeah.
in 1 week.
I was one of those ones that were not for billboards. But my question to you is, how come there's so many out there? If it's not
Especially
doing
from
it,
Denver to
they're
Grand
not doing
Junction.
this thing. What I would like to know, because of your road trip, to see how many billboards are out there alongside this one that we're looking at.
Well, there was a
Because
Highway Beautification Act in the 1960s that limited the number of billboards that
Right.
they can build. So you can't build anymore. So they're finite numbers, and I think because people have always done them, and there weren't other modals of advertising that were more
Right.
effective,
Right.
that's why they are there. But as we evolve and as we use different kinds of technologies and things,
I agree.
I mean, I don't think they're completely useless.
They're
but
up in their game.
But I think they're incredibly expensive, and your return on investment, dollar per dollar, you know, if you have unlimited funds, sure, put up a lot of billboards. But if you're really looking at how to invest your money the most effectively, let's look at actual data and what is our return on investment for every dollar we spend on a billboard. How much does that come into us? And hopefully that's where our marketing people will have some better data for us versus just anecdotally.
Not only marketing, I'm sure if we called these billboards, I'm sure they have numbers.
Well, of course
Yes,
they
I
do,
have
because they
to
want
know.
you to sell. They want to sell their numbers. It's like
And
calling the
and
radio.
only reason
I'm waiting to finish my proposal.
Okay.
I got interrupted.
I mean, the billboard companies, of course, are going to tell you that you're going to get a great return on investment without really
But
selling.
isn't that-
Everybody
Everybody?
is. Everybody is.
But you can actually see the numbers when you're on social media. You see who walks in your door and clicks on those.
You can? I mean,
Yeah.
the users on Facebook and all of them are dropping. There is so much competition. Which one do you go to? And they are cheap for a reason, because they're cheap.
Yeah,
and that's there. I don't say you don't use them,
have you
but
ever
they're
looked at
easy.
have you ever looked at the analytics? Like I have a business.
Yes, I have.
I look at the analytics all the time. It tells you exactly who's clicked on it, who's come in your door, who's called for how many people have called you. I mean, you see them for your hotel probably. How many people have asked for directions? How many people have direct messaged you? You know, you see the exact numbers on all of those analytics, and yeah, you spread them around. You know, but I mean, Google ads are still pretty inexpensive and they're very targeted. You know, you can do them based on the minute they drive into Raton, you can start hammering them with ads until they leave wherever, or from whatever stretch to whatever stretch, right?
One of the things too is
And you can do it by demographic.
you could put something out on Facebook. You can have a store, and you're not going to get every one of those visitors. People are just looking. People are just scrolling. They're just scrolling the Facebook. They're scrolling them, but you're not going to get every one of them.
No, of
just
course
like
not.
just like the billboards, you're not going to get every one of them.
But you have data
But
of how
the
many people actually
information
come
is
in.
there. Our information is there. And my thing is this, is we need to use every aspect of advertising to market the city. That's my take on it, you know, is we have to be everywhere.
Like I said, I'm not opposed to them. I just think we need to look at our overall budget and see where we get the best return on investment and spend the majority of our advertising budget on whatever the best ROI is. That's just common business sense, right? And then you spend some other in
Go
some
ahead,
other
Chris.
areas.
Finish up, Chris.
Can I finish now?
Yeah.
Okay. Any marketing firm that is good, studying everything will tell you it takes a mix. The cost of this is not that much for a full year's, 365 days of constant advertising with the amount of traffic that goes by those boards. Now the other thing, you attacking the message, like I said, that's up for debate. We can do something simple is better with billboards. That's going to be 12 months of the year. Our outdoor, is not all 12 months. I mean, the summertime is the best time, and this is not. We can't push just outdoor. I see and deal with a whole lot of people that are coming because of our downtown, because of driving through and what it looks like. We have museums, we have theater, we've got all kinds of things that people want to see that really is not attracting. It is not outdoors that they're coming to see. It's I think we've got to be general with something like this. Put it in their mind. If they're looking at outdoors, most likely they're already looking for things and targeting. I don't know that a
disagree.
bike.
I think you need to show some
Can I
data.
finish?
I think you're
Can I
just
finish?
based on anecdotal, like, these are my ideas. Like, where's the data? Like,
I just said I have the data.
on
And you
you
said
know,
you rejected it
No.
because it's from the billboard
But
company.
on who's coming here? Where's the data? I mean, we have beautiful sunshine, 11 months out of the year. So
Morning,
I think we will get
As an example,
people
I
for
didn't get
it.
this picture of the billboard that you had there, but
You don't have
do
that?
you ever get anybody that's seen this billboard as they're coming in? Do they ever?
Honestly, nobody's ever said we stopped here because we saw a billboard. That's the truth. But might I interject something? So you are hiring a marketing and advertising professional. I think this is a question you should put before them and see what their reaction is or their recommendation is, because that's why you're hiring an advertising and marketing professional.
The only problem is that's the way we move, it's gonna be 2 months before we get somebody actually on the ground working. And I think
Well, the thing of it is now is we're working in for 2023. So, I do believe billboards are gonna be part of the package. If we have to drop the billboard in Monument because it's so expensive and pick up an inexpensive one that's down in New Mexico and Texas and out between here and Albuquerque, that's fine. I totally agree. We have to watch about when we're spending the money. But the one thing about the one in Monument, we had an opportunity, which that thing was a huge amount of money at the time before we got it, but because of COVID, we got an excellent price. That's why we went with that. Other than that, we would have never went for that billboard. wasn't it half the cost, Marty, that we got it for? So that's,
And that contract was signed, I think you're committed until July.
right.
One last thing. I think part of the reason that I wanted to be on this board and part of the reason that I was accepted is I have a tremendous amount of experience in marketing. I've worked with the big Texan who owns a billboard company now because they use billboards so much promoting a free 72-ounce steak. You know, the restaurant, the food is mediocre, but they get tons of business because people see those billboards and they've spent a lot of money on it. The reason they bought it, started their own billboard company was to keep the cost down some. The musical drama Texas, we spent $25,000 a year on billboards because people would see that, they know what it is coming in. The World Championship Ranch Rodeo, which is an international ranch rodeo, it's been going on for 8 or 9 years. A third of their budget is billboards. There are a large number of companies that use billboards to drive thinking, to drive traffic. It has worked. It has experience. I can get the data. I don't know where your data comes from that it's more recreational people than visitors.
I don't have that data, but we need that data to make educated decisions, right? And if we as a community have, and I think the goal of our city council and also our charge has really been to let's focus on one aspect really strongly for the next couple of years, and that aspect is outdoor recreation. That's what has been my understanding since
I think we have to hit it all. I think we have to hit all phases of what we have to offer.
You can't hit everything all the time, though. I mean, I think you have to focus.
But if we're in so many things, or if we're in magazines, if we're in billboards, if we're on social media, there's no reason why we can't emphasize on all of them. There isn't.
Yeah, but who's told us that we have to focus on one thing?
Well, I think that's the charge of city council, right? Is that we're focusing more because we want sustainable economy, and
the sustainable economy is advertising for all of them.
Yeah,
we get.
But there's certain things that don't bring any money in.
Don, you're saying outdoor recreation, you want hits to beds, the bicyclers, but you're forgetting that when they're not bicycling, they're downtown in our shops.
Of course they are.
And I for one have been in business for 15 years, and I for one have seen people come out of cars, especially here recently within the last year or so, come down because they cannot go north anymore. They're coming south for a day, they're coming south for 3 days, they're coming south for the weekend. And that's also what we need to focus on, is those people, and they're not coming for bicycling.
That's why
they're coming for hiking maybe, they'll go for the hike.
But I'm not just saying bicycling, I'm just saying, have a picture of somebody doing an activity.
Well, I agree.
Or maybe on here, have one person split it, do a picture of one on a bike and another person walking in front down Main Street. Right.
You're getting close to being too busy.
Well,
you get too much on it.
But I think you do two things and you keep them focused, right? And I'm not saying that we discount the rest of the things. But
you just said we need to do one thing.
No, I'm just saying that we need to focus primarily, and this is where this advertising company comes in, because we need the data, and we're trying to make decisions without any really tangible knowledge except for our anecdotal thinking.
It's not anecdotal thinking, it's many years of experience.
Yeah, but many of those things have evolved and are changing. It's not just today. I mean, 30 years ago, billboards were your main source of advertising on a road, but now they're not.
Don, I agree with you for the Facebook and stuff like that, and we all say it's cheap and inexpensive. There's no reason why we can't have both.
Well, that's what
because that's what we need, is that when we hire the girl or whoever to do our social media, that's where they step in. We automatically step in.
But what I'm saying is that we need a plan, and we need a plan that in the next year we're going to primarily focus on one aspect of what we do. And outdoor recreation has the most momentum around heads and beds at the moment. And then add in, of course, Main Street is incredibly important, because after you're done doing your activities, you want to go eat. You want to go buy some stuff. You want to maybe pick up some beads because that's your side hobby. Whatever it happens to be, right? That's an incredibly important part to having those assets for tourism, for a sustainable economy. I mean, in the hotel business, you know that if you don't have restaurants that are open, your people are like, what do I do? Like, what am I looking to do, you know? And when Main Street closes at 4 o'clock, people are like, what do I do?
They're
You
home
know?
in their motels getting ready for supper.
Well, maybe if there's enough restaurants
Not
open.
to
So
get-
what I'm just saying is that there's a
one last
focus,
thing,
right?
Tom.
Okay.
I spent every Saturday morning this summer at market talking to people. I asked everybody, are you from here or where are you from? And I would, and I'm not making this up to back up my story, but a lot of them say, yeah, we just wanted to come, you know, we've been wanting to come to Trinidad and everything else. I get nobody saying, oh, we came here because we have bikes. Now, some of them did have bikes, some of them did that, but a lot of them came to visit because the town is
It's
cool,
starting
it's
to get its
magic.
name. It's getting its name
It's
because of
magical.
the bicycle, but people not using the bicycle are coming to
Yes.
see what's going on down
So
there.
we've
And
we can't
because it's
focus on.
quiet and it's not that Denver and Coral Springs traffic, they still have a very walkable, huge Main Street and Commercial Street.
Right.
And that's why they're coming, because they don't have that anymore.
Well, and if you're seeing all of these people coming from the north down south, then that's the other thing that I'm hoping this new marketing firm talks about is where are people coming who are spending the night. Now that our pot industry is starting to wane to some degree, and we're not getting everybody from Texas just to come up and buy weed, you know, who's actually coming and spending time here and putting money in and really getting the data? And so where should we be focusing?
Austin, Texas, and Coral Springs. Marty, you got that question too, don't you?
No, I had another question, but go ahead.
No, Austin, Texas, Coral Springs, huge amount of people coming out of Denver just for day trips, and they.
Go ahead, Marty.
Okay, go
Let me
ahead.
just ground you a little bit. Okay, so your advertising and marketing bucket for next year is already half empty. Your billboard bucket is half empty. So any advertising that's gonna be taking place, whether it's billboards or wherever, will be for 2023. And we can't even start this until January next year. That's a month and a half out. It's also a month and a half out before your marketing and advertising agency will begin speaking to you and deciding what we're going to be doing.
And our charge doesn't include ad buys.
No, that's the money
So
that
we-
comes out of those two buckets.
Yeah.
You have one specified particularly for billboards. I mean, you already have that designated. There is a billboard line item. There's also an advertising and marketing line item that'll pay for those publications or what radio ads or whatever the case might be.
So,
So
I
Just needed to ground you a little bit.
I think we
So-
should wait
off
on
you-
these until our marketing person is in
So off of
place.
you saying that, after we hire a marketing specialist, I think that we need a work session. We maybe need a half a day or a day work session, this board, to decide what we're gonna do in 2023.
You will have an initial meeting once this RFP is fulfilled to meet with
But
these
us
people.
ourselves, projects that we,
Once you,
that
if
we
you're
have.
discussing advertising and marketing, you need to discuss this with this
Well,
agency
everything.
that
With
you
the
hire.
agency.
We need
You need to
to,
sit down and talk about everything that
Everything.
you're going to do and ask them for their expertise. That's why you did this.
yeah. Well, even projects that were brought to the board, you know, do we go back to them? Is there something that we wanna pick up and take into 2023? You know, is there anything that we left behind that we wanna look at again? You
And
know,
that's what
there's-
you'll discuss with them, all of those things, all of those aspects.
So in this proposal that you have, Chris, do you have multiple billboards? Do you have one billboard?
Just two.
Just two.
That's, you know, that were what I did put one down there for you. I wonder what happened to it. I did look at several that they had, and I chose what I thought was good. The only questionable one is the one I was going to travel to see was the one at Raton.
Yeah, and so, you know, some of my questions, even beyond, you know, like appreciating what everybody said here, is it left read, right read, is it lighted, the size of the boards?
Right.
Those are all things that
Right.
also have.
They are lighted and right reads. In
And-
fact, I think that's
And nothing out of between here and Albuquerque.
the one in Raton. And I felt that one was better than some that were further south because it would catch the people that were north of that sign.
Okay. So my thing to you is, I do feel we need something coming out of the south. Whether it be the billboard in Raton or the one in Des Moines. The billboard in Raton is now getting everything that's coming out of Albuquerque and out of Texas, Oklahoma.
No, I think it's,
If the one on Raton is.
yeah, it's right there, but I'm not sure it's readable for those coming from
Albuquerque.
Texas. Yeah.
I would like to be able to have a billboard that's gonna get both of them. Something out of Albuquerque, Arizona, California, that way, and then you're getting everything out of Texas and Oklahoma.
Right. This, I've done a lot of studying on this last couple of months. This is my recommendation. You can either, I mean, if you want to reject it or.
No, I don't wanna reject it. No,
Well, this
I-
is
she
just a
does,
work
but-
session.
This-
You
yeah,
I-
can
you
have
know,
a
I
further
feel-
discussion at a regular meeting.
I do feel we need something out of the south. All we have is the billboard that we have right on, before exit 13,
Yeah.
coming out of the south.
I think we should wait until we have a marketing firm to maybe give us some ideas on what the content should look like, and then
Well,
also.
we're definitely gonna look at the content, that's, you
And,
know.
but then they can design it so it looks good too, right? And so that they can really,
Thank
have
you.
some consistency with all of the different branding assets that we have.
so many things to sell here.
Yeah.
We do. We have Monument Lake, we have golf courses, we have the golf course, we have so many things here. And those are city-owned properties. We have Main Street, we have biking, we have fishing, we have skiing. We have water skiing, we have everything. We have fishing, we have lakes here. There's a lot of areas that we can touch.
And that should go on to the,
Marketing firm.
well, when we do Facebook and stuff like that, not necessarily a full billboard with all that in here.
No, I'm
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
saying all the
I know
things.
what you're saying.
You could take just one of them and hit full force on it.
Marty, what's the time period for the marketing firm?
She's,
What do you mean time period?
When are
Like,
they looking at
Are they gonna start interviewing in the next week or two? So
Yeah,
we-
that's what I said.
yeah, she said that.
So they'd be on
Do
board
you-
like at the first of the year.
Yeah, hopefully they're.
January 1.
First year, yeah.
The RFP stated January 1.
Okay,
All right, should we move on?
yes.
So you good with that, Chris?
Yeah, I don't
It's
know
a
what are
work
we doing.
session. Just
Well, it's a work session, we're talking about it, and,
It's
you
no
know,
decisions. made.
yeah, there's no decision made, no.
I guess. I don't know.
So then everybody has to.
I feel, I feel.
What's coming out of what Dawn is saying is, let's wait till let's wait till they hire someone.
These are definitely in consideration.
And something out of the south is gonna be part of our plan. I do believe that. And I'm sure anybody that's advertising for us is gonna see the same thing, that there is a need to advertise that's coming out of the south.
One of my concerns, and we need to go, whoever we pick, we need to, follow their guidelines and stuff. But I've worked with several advertising firms, and advertising is such a fluid entity that you'll have one firm that leans towards, television, radio, one that leans towards billboards, one that leans towards magazines, and you don't really know what you're getting until you bring them on. I'm not a big fan of bringing on an advertising firm. I think we have smart heads here. We could do it, but the majority wants to go with an advertising firm. So,
Well, it's not like you can't voice your opinion when we.
Well, I
when we do
did
hire
early
them,
on.
you know what I mean?
I thought we've got people that are smart enough here. We know what direction we're going.
Smart is different than knowing
We're
how to be
gonna-
an
especially
advertising.
now,
No,
I don't interrupt you.
But I'm just saying that being
Please don't
intelligent is
interrupt me.
different than having a content.
Please don't
knowledge,
interrupt me.
Go ahead.
Okay. We know what we know, the town's history, we know basically what's happening here, and it's gonna, if we get somebody that's farther away than Colorado Springs or something, we're gonna have to educate them on the town too, before they come in. It's gonna take them a while to sit down and study and then give us their opinion of what they studied. There is no, black and white. It's all gray.
When I was at the tourism conference, there was a company there, Vista, and they applied. They have a packet in there. One of the things that, and I'll bring it so you can see it, is one of the things is they want to come to your city and they want to be positioned in it. They want to see what you have. I want someone to come here and look at everything we have to offer, and then we go from there. That's the thing that I want, is a company that's going to come in here and actually get on the ground and take an inventory of everything that we have, and then come back to us and say, this is what you have, and these are the ways that we can go. That's what I want, so I'm sure everybody here is looking for the same thing.
Yeah, I want what's best for for Trinidad and for the merchants and the citizens and what's there. I mean, that's the only reason that I give my time drive in, make a 30-mile round trip to come to these meetings and everything. And I like working with the people on the board, and I think we have good ideas. I've seen good ideas come out of this board. And
one of the things, Chris, that I see is we just got Trinidad State Park, Fisher's Peak into play now,
right?
Which is huge. We have the state park, which is huge. I mean, this is the biggest park in the state of Colorado. Second?
And second, the newest one that they just did is slightly bigger, right?
No, it's not, but it was already mostly developed, so
Because they
it's not.
said that at that thing the other day, that it was the largest
Well,
park.
I was
It's the
wondering-
second largest in the state.
Yeah,
But anyway, but still, that's the way I see it. We have a lot of things that are into play now. We didn't have biking 2 years ago. We have it now. We have a state park now. So
We have a
that's
state
why
park
I
already.
feel.
We have two now.
Yeah, that's why I feel we need some guidance as
So
to do
can
it
I
right.
use that as a segue into the next agenda item?
Thank you.
CMP Factor Earth project.
So if you turn to the flyer that you have in front of you that has the phone with the picture of Fisher's Peak on it, and if you'll each take your phone and take a picture of that QR code, it will take you to Factor Earth and the project that the Canyons and Plains Regional Heritage Task Force just completed with a grant from the Colorado Tourism Office. So it'll bring you to a page that has the logo for Colorado Parks and Wildlife on it in front of Trinidad Lake State Park. If you scroll down,
Is that it?
yep. If you scroll down, it'll say, welcome to Southeast Colorado State Parks. Each of these, they have multiple locations. So it'll take you to these multiple locations. This one is state parks in Colorado Southeast. At the top there, there's a button that says start your adventure. If you click on that, and you scroll down, it says choose a place to explore this adventure.
Nice.
So you have John Martin Reservoir, you have Trinidad Lake State Park, and you have Fisher's Peak State Park.
Oh, this is cool. If you click on them, then you can look around.
And then you can look around.
Yeah.
So
You
it's
have to click on my factor.
It's
not the camera.
360 degrees. If you move your phone,
You know that little.
if you're standing on the location, say you're at Trinidad Lake State Park, you can move your phone around and you can see all the different locations,
Oh, I
and each
see
one of
this
those
already.
has a pin. So if you click on a particular pin, it'll give you information about that area. So I clicked on research at Trinidad Lake. If you continue to scroll around it, you can see the peak, you can see the campground.
I did this already.
Did you?
Uh-huh.
And there's really cool information. It even has the Highway of Legends on it. One of the pins at Trinidad Lake State Park is the Highway of Legends. It'll take you to, the scenic byway page. It has information on the photos. So there's actually, if you go to each one, there's photos attached to each one of those. And it'll give you historic photos. Trinidad Lake State Park, for instance, has historic photos of Sopris before the dam went in.
It's very interesting read.
So it's pretty neat. I
Did
haven't
you get
received
it
any
in Start
analytics. We
Adventure?
just launched it
Start Adventure.
2 weeks ago.
Start Adventure.
But
Wow.
it's pretty neat. I'm really pumped about it.
That's cool.
It's a great advertising piece.
Is there
for
any
us.
way they will, or do they already have that podcast that's geo-targeted on the Highway of Legends? Have you ever listened to it?
That's the travel stories.
That's so awesome. Is
So
that
travel stories right now, the Federal Byways Administration is looking at developing a travel stories app for every one of the, oh, no, it's not federal, it's Colorado, for every one of the Colorado byways.
Oh, yeah.
So they're looking at trying to find some funding so every byway can have that travel stories app. And it's GPS, you use your GPS for it.
Can you connect it? Could they connect it to this Highways and Plains thing, like when you clicked on it? And you did Highways of Legend, could you then connect to that?
I think it takes you to the Highway of Legends page, and that app is available on there. So it is connected, kind of indirectly, but yes,
Because that thing's cool.
it is. It's neat.
I love it. Have you listened to it?
Yeah, oh yeah. And I already been to this little page too. I don't know where, you must have put it on Facebook?
Well, I put it on. I sent it in an email,
Okay, well, I did
and I did
click
put it on
that time.
Facebook, so it is on Facebook.
Yes, I did click on it already.
So I just wanted to share that with you, so you can share that with others. It's a pretty neat little app.
Uh-huh.
And we're just, Canyons and Plains has been doing a lot of things representing the entire region, and we're part of that. So.
Thank you, Marty.
On that. So some fun, exciting
Want to
news.
go for a road trip down behind?
Did they reapply? They're in that second part, or that third part of the grant that they
We
got,
did
right?
the reimagine, we did the restart, now we're in the reimagine.
And then is there a third part?
Not yet,
Okay.
but yeah,
And
we're in
then
the second grant.
Can they
cycle.
reapply for that system again, or that?
We did, we
Okay.
reapplied, we applied the first time, reapplied the second time, we got grants both times. We haven't heard back on the marketing, matching grant from the state yet. I think that we won't hear back till the end of November. But that was for our videography campaign that we're thinking about doing. So,
Okay, I really need to go for it.
Other items of discussion as needed?
Any other word on any downtown trails? Do you know any updates?
Nope.
Any other word on the Welcome Center?
Nope.
Do you know if when we talked about Sunflower Days and the Sunflower City, if the mayor ever approached city council about it?
I don't know, you'd have to ask the mayor.
Okay, just thought, I didn't know, I thought.
I have a recap of the RAS race. So the final numbers from that, she wanted me to share with you. The Rad Dirt Fest was a gravel race, had 3 distances. The Stubborn Dolores was a 165-mile race. The Antelope was 99 miles. The Frijole was 38 miles. We had approximately 95 volunteers working this event. There were 4 aid stations with about 50 volunteers over the course of Saturday, and another 45 between Thursday and Friday leading up to the race. And then course marshals and finish line aid, and included 2 high schools, both Honey and Trinidad High School, so it engaged the local students. Funds were able to be put back into the community by utilizing local resources versus bringing folks from outside. There were 3 fire departments utilized that received funds. There was sheriff's deputy and out on the course all day. The police department leaded out the race and had presence in town. In terms of hotels, she said it's hard to say, but there was not anything available the week of the race in town. There were about 20 rooms that were utilized for staff. I don't know what you had, Cy, as far as the weekend of that race, if you were full or turning people away.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we weren't turning people away, but we were okay that weekend, yeah.
Okay. Next year, they're discussing the idea of camping out at the Los Angeles County Fairgrounds as another fundraiser for the local group, maybe FFA or 4-H or something like that. Local Twin Enviro crew supported all the porta potties and roll off for garbage. They used 2 local bands for entertainment. Total of about 850 riders registered, 555 on the start line, so there's kind of a little bit of attrition. But all in all, the reason for her doing this recap for the tourism board was so that you would know that this is a community effort to support the town, the businesses, etc.
Do we know the economic impact of that event by chance? Like, are there any numbers specifically, or?
Well, that takes some time to get, but
Yeah.
I don't know who would do that either.
I don't either. Did that rad? I mean, because different towns will know the economic
Right.
impact of X, Y
Right.
conference.
Well, one of the ways you can find an impact in the area is the way when we did a research, or I did a research for the Blues Fest, is there's a report that comes out, that's the Smith Travel Area Report, the STAR Report, and it shows your local ADR rate for every night. So the higher the ADR rate means there's an event going into town, and depending on how busy that event is and needing for occupancy, the rate drives that. So you can see if, like on the weekends, like Trinidad's rate is really always, and that is all the hotels, 600 and some hotel rooms is always a little over $100. Unless in the middle of winter or really low times, it might get into the 90s. And in the high times, it might get,
What does ADR stand for? Average
average
dollar?
daily rate.
A daily rate.
Average daily rate throughout. And so through the Blues Fest, the average daily rate in town and actually in Raton and the surrounding areas like 168. So it shows automatically the $50 difference a room times 600 rooms times what the power is. Not only do we all sell out, we all also have that. So it's easy to kind of figure that out based on that STAR report, and that's why.
Yeah, but that's only hotels.
Yeah, and
We're
it
not
says
talking about
that.
restaurants or.
No, not at all. But I mean,
Well,
that's why how you could tell right off. And I'll look at the Radfest. I didn't see what the daily rate was. I'll do that. Because that usually tells you for sure what it is.
Okay, so the last thing I have real quick is a kickoff call that I had with Courtney Peterson with SUFA. So the next steps were discussion of what we need, what the tourism board needs to do. Identifying the locations, designing the vinyl, who should have access to the dashboard to upload the content for the screen. Is there a permitting process that we need to follow, or a portal where we need to register? How we're going to lay out the screen with local updates or an events calendar, or the different widgets that we're going to use on the screen. Are we going to utilize Twitter? Do we have transit routes that we need to put on there?
Isn't this something that our marketing agency should
Yes.
advise to us?
Yes, so local news, we can do polls, surveys on there as well, and we can put up the weather, daily weather. So,
Daily wind speed.
or daily wind speed. Anyway, so the next is the slide deck that she shared with me, and it kind of takes you through each one of those steps. A little bit of what you should have on the screen, your deliverables, so your screen layout, vinyl design and logistics like I just mentioned, and then all the particulars, advertisements. One of the things that she pointed out was if you look at the screen layouts page, if you look at the screen
Were
layouts.
they here to
page-
talk to us and we waited too long?
Were they the chamber people or what were they?
Oh, no, she was just dropping stuff off of the Shop Local campaign for me,
Oh,
for the Welcome Center. You'll see how your screen looks, how the header is laid out, where the weather's located, and then when their advertisements go on how it changes for 8 minutes out of an hour to an advertisement with local events below it. But what she pointed out on the next page was you'll see a picture where it says a better mortgage experience and it shows the whole super sign. The vinyl that she's talking about, when the tourism board chose this particular package, you wanted to do advertisements so that you could have a return on the investment. Part of that is the actual wrap of the sign. So the tourism board will not be on the wrap of the sign. That will be going out to somebody to advertise on. My suggestion was perhaps the city would be our advertiser so that it can be City of Trinidad as the vinyl design, rather than one particular business that is focused on this side.
Didn't we talk about the static advertising being city-owned and we're just charging for advertising for the non-static component?
Well, yeah, but that's open to, I mean, that could be recommended to SUFA, saying that's who we would like you to approach for that static signage, for the vinyl wrap. But it really is, it's not gonna be the tourism board because you didn't pay for that. That's part of your part of your ROI. And then, so, lots of information there that you can take a look at your convenience. So that when we have this final meeting, that you can make recommendations as to what you'd like to see on the board and how you'd like to see it laid out. So take some time and figure that out. This is your sign, there's 2 of them, so you can design them both differently, by the way. That's all I have.
Anybody else have anything else?
No. And I was looking at this clock, I don't really need to run, it's wrong. So I'm okay. I kept panicking and I thought, how the heck did that happen? I sure.
Okay, I'd like to adjourn at 9:55. Thank you, everybody.
Have a good day.
Actually, I would like to, this is my model in life, sometimes it's good to have amnesia.
I would like to have that.